start? Well, a book can take you just about anywhere, right? Through her new cookbook titled Africana, treasured recipes and stories are from across the continent. UK-based chef and broadcaster Lerato Umah-Shaylor takes you on a culinary expedition of mouth-watering African cuisines. It's also an essential book, though, on African cooking. So Umah-Shaylor joins us all the way from East Sussex in the UK to tell us more. And Lerato, thank you for your time. Good morning from this side of the world to you.
Dumela.
Tobela.
Thank you so much.
That is so good to have you. I was just telling you off air that, listen, when you touch this book, it's one to have. It's like a collector's item. I appreciate the detail, the effort, the care. I mean, it's almost like a love letter that you've written here through the cookbook. It feels like a conversation as well. And you're patiently taking us through all the recipes because you know that as a Pedi woman, I may not be so familiar with a Ugandan a dish, but you delicately take us through every single recipe and ingredient here. Tell me more about Africana.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that you feel what I felt for the book. It really is a love letter. It's something that I've been hungry to write for a very long time and also desperate to see, but I wasn't really finding a book like this in the market. And I thought, you know, I'm an African woman, a proud African woman. I love the continent. I love traveling across the continent. I have lots of friends and family. And I was very worried that a lot of our culture in food was not documented. So we have a few, amazing people doing wonderful things, sharing our food from chefs to authors. But I just thought we need dedicated books that will treasure our recipes, both old and new.
Yeah.
And that was sort of my inspiration for Africana, just treasuring those recipes in a book so that people across the world can cook our recipes, celebrate our recipes, and just put that in mainstream cooking.
Right. Was it difficult or easy for you to select which recipes you're going to share in the book?
It was very difficult. My editors had to keep reminding me, Lerato, this is not a textbook. It's a cookbook for entertainment and cooking.
Yeah.
And of course, we have, 54 plus countries across the continent. And I not to ignore some, but a lot of our recipes, some of our recipes were quite similar. So I had to just be biased and pick my favorites across the continent. And this is just one book. This is just one book. There can be so many other books. There are other books, with focusing on individual countries, but I had to focus on a few hundred favorites for Africana.
Right. Lerato, I've always been curious. I mean, I read at the back, the acknowledgement. You've thanked so many people, for contributing to, the success of the book, but supporting you to get this book to be a success. But I think for me, what touched my heart is a note that you wrote to Mummy Dearest. And it reads, for my mother, Stella Uche, who blessed me with great curiosity and audacity to live out my dreams, but also to your grandma, Teresa Ibone. I think she would have loved this book. Is Mummy and Grandma some of your inspiration behind being the cook that you are today?
Yes, they are. My grandma was a very, healthy eater, but she loved fresh food. My grandfather actually was almost on a raw diet. So my mother taught me a lot about the value of cooking fresh ingredients, how even though, in modern times we have to cut corners sometimes, but there's just nothing like, cutting up fresh greens and cooking it in stew. So that's been instilled in me, cooking fresh ingredients with spices and just how magical that can be in cooking. And a lot of how I cook now, even when I'm teaching, is really based on how I grew up, what I grew up eating. And I really have my mom to thank for that. She has her mom to thank for that.
And we appreciate them passing it down to you. Now, for anyone probably curious as to where they can get the book, where can we get a hold of Africana?
You can get it everywhere. It's out this week in all good bookstores. I've been dying to say that. All good bookstores. It's out already in Europe. It's going to be out in South Africa this week. So yes, it's everywhere. And if you go somewhere you don't see it, ask for it.
Ask for it. And we can obviously get a hold of you on social media, right, Lerato, so we can let you know where we are and if we can't get a hold of the book, so you can assist us.
Yes, I'm on Lerato Foods across all socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I answer messages. So I love meeting food lovers, talking to them. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.